Everybody, and welcome to the March 6, 2024 Kildover Hills Board of Commissioners meeting. I call our meeting to order and invite everyone to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we enter this moment of silence, let's remember the family of former Assistant Fire Chief Tommy Lee, who served our community for over 50 years. Please keep Brenda and their family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Okay. All right. Our next piece of business on tonight's meeting is an agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all of those, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We have an agenda. Next is our first round of public comments. Now is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the board on any topic of their choosing. We do ask that when you're called upon, approach the podium, speak into the microphone, and identify yourself by name and address. There'll be no debates. We keep your comments to 3 minutes if you're speaking as an individual, 5 minutes if you're speaking on behalf of a group. And we have someone in the back. Please approach the podium.
My name is Debbie Swick. I live at 59 Deer Path Lane, Southern Shores. Is that all you need from me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, commissioners, and guests. I am the creator of the ban against balloon releases for North Carolina, which I know that you all received the proposal and have discussed. I did present to your CAC organization. I spoke with Sue yesterday because I know that she wasn't going to be here. And if asked, she said that they would gladly endorse it or support it. While I understand your concerns about not being able to enforce this law, I cannot stress to you enough that it is extremely different from that of a litter ordinance. This balloon was picked up last week off the beach in Duck, and as you can see, there's no color left to it. The problem with helium balloons is when you take this and newspaper, garbage, soda can, throw it on the ground, it is retrievable. When this is filled with helium, if you do not address it as such and it's let go, then it becomes litter. There's no evidence and the damage is done. This is going to float away from the Outer Banks 1,300 miles out to sea, and it's killing our wildlife. And I can't stand litter. I know you have your trash attack I participate in. The amount of balloons is ridiculous, and the amount of wildlife that is dying because of it. Human impact all over, but balloons are a real and prevalent problem, and I ask you to consider it. I know it's so difficult to enforce. I understand that completely, but by writing a law that's specific to balloons, to put weights on them so there's no accidental releases, to make sure that nobody ties them to their banisters, mailboxes, or signage. I have the endorsement of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors. 1,000 members no longer allowed to tie balloons to their signs or porches or mailboxes. We're making little victories. Florida just signed it today. We're waiting on the governor's signature, 102-9. So it will be a law in Florida. And while I address all the towns, the local municipalities, I also have it out at all 100 counties in North Carolina, and I'm working with a state senator. So I encourage you to get on board. It shows there is a huge following for these balloons and the ban of them. There's a lot of support locally, and it would speak volumes to the people that live in your town if you do address it as such, because once it's let go, it becomes litter, but it is unretrievable, unlike all the other garbage on the ground and the roadway. So please do consider that. I thank you very much for your time, and happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, if I may, just some horrible pictures, just so you understand. These are actual balloon incidents. Both survived, but it occurs more often than not. And as a member of NEST and the Mammal Stranding and Seal Stranding, I can tell you that it is very, very real. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at tonight's public comment? All right, not seeing anyone, we can move on to response to public comment. Ms. Swick, thanks for your energy. Thanks for coming out and bringing this issue to us. It is something that I think we absolutely support the idea of being responsible with litter of all forms. I know we've discussed this as a board somewhat, and staff had their chance to weigh in. And AC, if you're comfortable talking maybe from a law enforcement standpoint, or Chief Britt, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm like you, I agree with it for pollution and killing animals and stuff. And as she's already pointed out, it's almost impossible to enforce. And as she said, it would fall somewhat under littering, but you got to have it fall where you can see it and to be littered. Well, it's in there, it's not litter. But I understand what she's talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, it definitely goes the opposite direction that every other piece of litter does. So it's tough.
Yes.
Any other comments from the board?
I mean, just be interested to see what happens in Florida, and obviously, I think this is it would be more of a state issue if it was going to be passed, but versus town by town. But I imagine you're lobbying the state to do the same. So.
Any other towns passed it?
Yeah. Debbie, I'll field this question to you. To your knowledge, of any other Dare County or North Carolina towns passed similar ordinances?
There are North Carolina towns that do, in fact, have ordinances. Greenville has one, Colorado has one. We are fortunate in this state to be able to do it by municipalities and county and state, where some are just by state. So there's quite a few on the books. I am the first person to bring it to the state level, which is kind of sad in its own way, that I'm not riding anybody's coattails and it's never been thought of before. But the reason that I say individual towns is because people still use them for memorials. They still release them for weddings. And if you have a law, there are still some people in this world, I like to believe, that are law-abiding citizens. And if you say, hey, you can't do that, they say, what are you going to do about it? But if you say, hey, you can't do that, it's a law, they are more apt to not want the substantial fines that follow or community service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But none in Dare County then.
None in Dare County.
Yeah.
I think there is quite a bit of support and interest in this. I think we maybe need to do a little more studying and a little more research, get some more input, and come back to it. I don't think we're quite, we need to look at it from all sides. We're absolutely open-minded, and we thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, and I'll happily come back anytime you need me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is ongoing business. Town Code Amendment 153310 Cottage Courts and Cluster Homes. We do have I know we have more business scheduled for this later on in the month, a public hearing, but there's been discussion amongst board members of kind of concerns about square footage, setbacks, distance between houses, and I welcome any input from the board if you want to, make some tweaks.
Well, as I understand it, the original proposal from staff was for 2,000, and then it got cut back a recommendation to 1,500. I was comfortable with 2,000, but 1,800 seems like a good number to me, just for general discussion.
Gotcha. How does the rest of the board feel about kind of meeting in the middle on this between staff and the planning board's recommendation, 1,800 square feet max for homes in a cluster home?
To me, that sounds reasonable. I don't know what the builder's limits are on building these homes, but it sounds like a reasonable compromise. And the verdict's still out on how these cluster homes are designed, marketed, how they operate, how they'll operate. So, just kind of watching. All of us are watching to see how they're marketed and how they actually function. So,
Also, I'm sorry, you done?
no, that's it.
I think there probably needs to be an addition to that. If we do wind up at 1,800, I think you need to have a 20-foot separation between the structures across the board, not a graduated scale, but 20 foot straight across the board.
No matter the square footage of the
Yeah.
house, of the
Mhm.
structure.
20
Okay.
feet.
Yeah, 20 feet separation.
And I think it's also important for people to know that if this is OIR and commercial, this is not.
Yeah, only
this is
in
what we're discussing right
OIR
now.
and commercial.
Okay, and that was going to be one, Meredith and I talked about that point. So we do have several different zoning districts
Right.
involved, of course, as far as where cluster homes are allowed. So
Right.
specifying,
Is
Meredith,
that
you-
correct?
Would remain at 1,500 as it is
Correct.
today.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
okay.
That would be my thought.
Yes, mine as well. I think that.
Okay.
Well, and that's
wouldn't
important
be
before you guys
supportive
go
of-
into anyone makes a motion. Having that differentiation would be great. And also tonight, since this is something that, as you guys know, has been bounced back and forth, but ultimately for the purposes of coming up with the decision that you're going to make tonight and settle on. But we do need to reschedule for a public hearing. And
Okay.
it can be the next the next meeting
The
date.
27th.
But tonight, of course, we have to view this twice. So this is our first bite right here.
Yeah.
But that's to schedule the hearing for next meeting on whatever language is voted upon.
Do we need to make a motion on these updates or can it just be?
Make that as part of your motion
We need to make a motion to set the public hearing
with.
To
with that
consider-
criteria.
Exactly. So to
Okay.
consider what criteria.
Well, I'm comfortable with the 1,800 square foot minimum and also the increased space within the houses
Right.
as well. I think it's doing the best we kind of can to incentivize the use of cottage courts without creating something that people really are not going to like to see. And
Right.
you still have a viable option to the larger oceanfront homes. And then these updates are more in line with what cottage courts historically look like in Kilnova Hills. So I'm good.
That's what I think too.
Well, and that being said, welcome a motion.
I'll take a stab at it. I would move that we set a public hearing for the 27th, March 27th meeting for the Town Code Amendment 153.310 cottage courts and 153.311 cluster homes to include 1,800 square feet in the OIR and commercial zone with a 20-foot separation on each structure. And I think that'll cover it, will it not?
And just for clarity, obviously RS we're saying stays at 1,500.
Right.
Because what's going to come back to you, I believe, Meredith, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be a tiered, which is how we started
Right.
actually, but more of a tiered ordinance that
Right.
says RS.
Yeah, this would only be for the OIR and the commercial
And the
zone
spacing as well.
and the spacing as well.
Okay.
Because it's 18, that's tied to the 1,800, correct?
Okay.
Just to be super clear, the 1,800 is the maximum
Yes.
square
Yes.
footage allowed, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah,
cap.
that's
question.
someone said no.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
And then we'll see what happens on the 27th. We'll have the public hearing on that language. So that would be the motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Do we have any further discussion? All in support, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
What could be next on tonight's agenda? New business. Mr. Hykins, welcome, sir. Now it's your time. So I will turn it over to Mr. Odell and go from there.
All three of y'all come up here.
Yes, sir.
I, repeat your name,
I, Timothy Dillon Hykins,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear
that I will be faithful and bear
true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
true allegiance to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional power
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain,
maintain,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws of said state,
the Constitution and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as Commissioner for the town of Kidawala Hills.
as Commissioner for the town of Kettle Hills.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's right. You're right. No, maybe not.
All right, everyone, we are going to take a brief recess in tonight's meeting, do some board photos, enjoy some refreshment, which encourage everyone to partake in, and we will re-adjourn shortly. There it is. Good job, Dylan.
We do have cake for the town and Dylan.
Scoot over the chairs.
Cake.
Sir?
71st
No, I
birthday.
stand. I see. Yes.
Oh, okay, so you got the
Apologies.
prettiest ones beside you.
We'll move on with our agenda. Congratulations, Commissioner Hikins. Nice to have you up here with us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, next item is committee reports.
No committee report for me,
Uh,
Mayor.
I do have to report our LDPI was approved, and it is going to be a current TV inventory visitation with historic homes in Kill Devil Hills. It's going to have the interior and interviews with some people. We're going to try to line up some folks and everything, to have it done. But we got approval to get that paid for with $5,000 from the GEACC. So,
All right.
Very good.
Committee reports?
Mastermind over there put
Oh,
it together.
right over there.
Michael, yeah.
Nothing this evening.
I'll add one quick committee report. Back on February 21st and 22nd, I attended the Coastal Resources Commission and Coastal Resources Advisory Council meetings. A lot of content. I will share the big theme, though, was celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Coastal Area Management Act. So it was a lot to talk about, but a big chance to celebrate CAMA and how it affects our state. All right, moving on from committee reports, we have commissioner's agenda. Start down here. Commissioner Hikins.
We allowed to talk about personal things, I suppose? Announcements?
Floor-
What have you?
Sure.
Commissioner Hikins, it is your day.
No, thank you very much. That's good to know. Yeah, absolutely.
As long as we keep our behavior in line and the language clean, you can
Absolutely.
pretty much show wherever you want.
Yeah, no particular speech, no. I just wanted to share some other good news that Emily and I are currently expecting due end of August.
Congratulations.
Actually.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, it works both ways, does it not, sir?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. That's all for me, Mr. Mayor.
Well, congratulations, Hikins family. Very good. Commissioner's agenda?
Nothing here.
All right, moving on to mayor's agenda. The first thing I have for the board is a resolution honoring the life and service of Michael M. Lee Sr. It was with great sadness that our board must note the passing of Assistant Fire Chief Thomas Tommy M. Lee Sr. Having a true servant's heart, Chief Lee made a positive difference in our community over 50 years. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Brenda and their family, and I would like to make the motion to adopt this attachment resolution honoring the life and service of Thomas M. Lee Sr.
Second that motion.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We have a unanimous resolution. Thank you all. Next item to share is I had the pleasure and honor last weekend of hosting a delegation from Mecklenburg Homburg, Germany. We had a group of 6 dignitaries come to town, and they were really interested in the Outer Banks. I got the good and it was more cultural fun than anything because they didn't know what shrimp were, they didn't know what grits were. I needed a day with them to kind of get them up to speed. They were really lost in the headlights, but a real pleasant and fun bunch. And they got to, well, the area they're from in Germany is where the gentleman who invented hang gliding is from, and his study and contributed a lot to the Wright brothers developing their flyer. So we have a cultural connection to their community, and they want to, establish ties with North Carolina. So it was good fun and a nice visit. One more very brief piece of I don't want to share is when I was coming home from work today, on 158 and Landing, a car broken down in the turn lane, and our police cars very safely they blocked off the street for incoming traffic. They got out of their cars in the unpleasant, cold, rainy day and helped push the guy's car out of the road quickly and safely and very, very kindly. And I was pulling up and I see police lights and I see traffic. Like all the bad words in my mind are going through my head and I'm frustrated. And I'm like, you know what? I may be having a bad afternoon, but I'm not having to get out of my car in the rain and help someone move their vehicle. So kudos, Chief and AC, that our police did that and did it safely and kindly. And it was a real proud moment for the town. And that concludes the mayor's agenda, town manager's agenda.
Yes, sir. One item this evening, coastal storm damage mitigation fund application process. North Carolina has established this fund, the CSMF, to assist in addressing the unique issues faced by the coastal communities. Along with the other Dare County localities, Killable Hills has taken advantage of this program in the past to pursue opportunities to offset costs for beach erosion control, flood and hurricane protection works, the beach erosion program. In this situation, there is a $10 million each year for the biannual budget statewide for additional steps to help with the storm damage mitigation fund. The county managers, along with the Dare County manager, have met with Ken Wilson, the senior project manager for coastal protection engineering. And we've determined and would like to recommend to the board that Dare County actually applies for the grant as the lead agent, with the other municipalities participating in that. The county would submit the application, would pay for the engineering that's necessary. And the interesting thing about this grant is, let's say we do get a portion of the 10 million this year. You don't have to use that in that current year. You can put that in your fund. You can build on it. So then let's say you get another portion next year, and it can continue to grow. And then the hope is that the state will continue to fund this project, but maybe with more than 10 million a year. So with your permission, that's what we would like to recommend and would like to do.
This fund is beach nourishment,
Yes, sir.
nothing else.
That's right. Absolutely. But it's the 10 million is for the entire state. That's, as you all know, having
10 million.
been in the beach nourishment business for a while now, that's not a lot of money, but it's something that's it's worth applying for and hopefully building up on it.
You need a motion for that or just
Yes,
consensus?
please. Well, consensus is fine. If I've got 5 heads.
Well, what's the pleasure of the board? Any questions, concerns?
None from me.
I think we need to move forward with it.
Absolutely.
Well,
Makes sense.
it sounds like we have consensus to move forward with it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll let the county and Mr. Wilson know that the board confers. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have a town attorney's agenda.
Mayor, did you get to throw back any beers with our German friends? They probably could have taught you something. You seen the size of the steins they drink out of?
Be careful who you're talking to.
I heard you went to the
Let's hope I don't
brew
see
station.
We went to the
Sure
brew-
you did.
we went to
I'm
the
gonna
brew-
hold you to it. if
we
I
went
see
to
you
the
out.
brew station and we talked about their gold medal for beer competition.
You got to plug your ears.
Yeah, so it was a fun, festive time. So yeah,
No, I had to ask. I had to.
yeah,
That's it for me, though.
very good.
A lot to offer.
That's it for me.
If our German friends come back, we'll invite the town attorney to come
Perfect.
with us. So
Excited about it. I'll pick up the tab.
yeah. All right. Next, we have our consent agenda.
Of course. Yes, sir. Minutes from the February 5th, 2024 meeting, the January 2024 monthly report, the Government Access Channel Committee proposed budget for 24-25. The GEACC annually submits its operating budget, which must be approved by all entities. Approval of the consent agenda will record the Board of Commissioners' approval of this 24-25 budget. Next is the resolution supporting the Coastal Resources Commission temporary rules. This is an item that's been discussed several times here at the board, in particular how it could negatively affect Jockey's Ridge State Park. And through consensus, the board had requested that the staff prepare and send before the deadline this resolution, and that was done. Approval of the consent agenda will simply record the board's approval. These are 2 public hearings that would be scheduled for the March 27th meeting. The first one, site plan requirements, commercial multifamily and special use application, the number of copies required. The second one is Chapter 10, General Provisions, Chapter 150, Building Regulations, Flood Damage Prevention, Subdivision Zoning. This is to modify notice of violation, civil penalties, and appeals to clarify procedures. Staff recommends the public hearings be scheduled for Wednesday, March 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Approval of the consent agenda will schedule these public hearings, and staff recommends approval of the consent agenda as presented, and a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very
Unanimous.
much.
All right, now we're gone to our second opportunity for public comment. If anybody would like to speak on anything, we've shared the rules before, and podium's open for anyone who'd like to anything to share. No takers. There is, in that case, there's no response to public comment. We're down to our last item on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. See you later.